Try this again. Sorry about messing up that first video for you guys. Please take a look at our next project, which is going to be based on the pentatonic scale, the musical parts of a song. Cool. You're going to learn how to improvise with the pentatonic scale today, which is a 5-note scale I'm going to teach you. You're going to learn about all these different parts of a song. Cool. So the first thing I want to show you is just how to build up a song using these words. So the first thing we're going to add, what I like to start with, is the drums and the percussion, or what a lot of my students refer to as the beat. Saying the beat is kind of like almost an uneducated way to say it, because a lot of the time you just hear all the music and you're like, oh, this is the beat of the song, but it's really not. Just the drums and the percussion would be qualified as the beat. So it's a timekeeping part of the song that allows the listener to hear the steady beat. It's really the words you want to put behind it. So I found some things earlier that might sound great. Cool, I'm going to slow this down a little bit. I'm going to drag in this disco beat. Sounds pretty cool. Right, I'm going to extend it out to 9. Now this little tool at the top is the repeat tool. It's really good for writing, which is what we're going to be doing today. So I like to turn this on, especially when I'm trying to make loops. Yeah. So it'll only play up till here, and then it will go back. Make sense? So the repeat tool is really great for this. So I've decided that this is my beat, or my drums. The next part I want to think about is my harmony. Yeah. The harmony is not the part of the song that you would think to sing. Yeah. It's notes being played together to make chords behind a song. So it kind of makes the feeling of the song happen. Right? So I found these two earlier. We're going to put guitar in first. Now, a guitar is a chordal instrument. Yeah. It plays chords. It can play one note at a time, but it can also play more than one note at a time. Not every instrument is chordal. Like a flute, you can't play 3 notes at the same time. Right? You can only play one. So that's not a chordal instrument. Where a guitar is a chordal instrument. You can play chords on it. Cool. So that's your harmony. Let's listen to what these sound like together. Cool. I love it. Sounds great. The next thing, there's the melody, but we're going to add the bass since it's already up here. The bass is low notes that help fill out the sound, and they make the sound feel bigger. So let's listen to this without bass. Cool, and then let's add some bass and hear what it sounds like. Now some of you might be like, that sounds the same. It's just supposed to fill out the sound a little bit more. It doesn't add too much. If you turn it way up in the volume, it'll add a lot more. Hear the difference between when it's off and when it's on. It's just supposed to fill out the sound a little bit more. And those low sounds really make it sound fuller. Now you can rename these. I always like to rename it and make like one of these lines is called a track. So I always make like a drum track. And then my harmony track. And then my bass track. Just so I can keep it in line here. And you don't have to have like 600 tracks in your project. Cool. Now the next thing that we're going to do is learn about melodies. So I'm going to rename this the melody track. Now a melody is the most prominent part of the harmony. So it is a part of the harmony because it's still a note, right? But it's the most prominent part. Usually it's written higher in pitch than the other parts. So let's say like if we're up here, you'd probably hear that over everything else, right? Usually higher in volume than the rest of the harmony too. This isn't always true. This is why I always say usually, because there's always instances in music where the melody is in the lower voice. Sometimes the bass has the melody. which is interesting. Sometimes the melody's pretty quiet. Yeah? So we're going to learn how to mess around with melodies today. So you need to learn your pentatonic scale. So I'm going to show you the keyboard so you can see what I'm doing. This is just a little map over here so you can see what I'm doing on my keyboard in front of me. You don't need this up in your project. You don't have to click it in. You can do it with yours. All right, so your pentatonic scale for C major, which is your key, you want to make sure that this is always on C major when you're doing this scale. It's going to be these notes: C, D, E, G, and A. Cool. Pentatonic, penta means 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if you play C, D, E, G, and A anywhere on the keyboard, it's going to sound good. Cool. It's going to sound nice. The pentatonic scale is a very nice scale. It always sounds good, and everything that's going on around it should be easy to play over. Cool. So I'm going to turn this stuff down just a little bit to make sure our melody is the highest point. Now, to practice what you're going to do, the whole job this week is for you to write melodies, right? So I want you to use this scale to write some melodies. So to practice that, and you're going to improvise, you have as much time as you need to do this. You're going to put this on play, let it run, and play over it on your keyboard. Now listen to when I play different notes that are outside of the pentatonic scale. So this is the right notes. These are right. And these are notes that are out of the pentatonic scale. Hear how they don't blend as nice? Where this will blend a little bit easier. Cool. So you want to come up with something you like. I'm going to record something. I'm going to just randomly record it. I'm making this up on the spot. So I'm just going to show you how to record really quick. You record 2, 3, 4. Great. Then you cut that down to where it's supposed to be. Goes to 3. And you can loop it, and it'll just be there. Cool, and if you don't like this sound, that sounds kind of like a school bell. Right now, it kind of sounds like the bell under a school. You can try to pick a different instrument, right? If you go over here and click flying clav, it'll just change. Right? And different sounds have different controls and EQs and stuff like that. You can mess with that, and we'll do more stuff with that later, but change your sounds up. You can do it as much as you need to. And obviously some sounds sound better than others. Cool? So your job is to make melodies happen, right? You're going to make this song in A, B, C format like we've been doing in the pop song formula. You can record drums, you can record this other stuff if you really want to, but the main part that I want you to focus on is the melody. and I want you to make a decent melody. Now I want you to make a melody for your A section, B section, and C section. So you're creating 3 melodies. Make sense? 3 full melodies to put in this song. All right? Make it in your pop song format, and you should be good. Make sure you mess around with your tempo a little bit and find some sounds. Take some time and really improvise on this scale. Let me show you one more thing before we go. With your keyboard, your Akai keyboard that's in front of you, please look at your keyboard, and then you'll see there's 2 buttons underneath the little joystick looking thing that are called octave, and there's an arrow down, and then octave that's an arrow up. They're not octave, it's octave. If they're not blinking at all, if there's no light on them, then your notes should be in this range. Yeah? C2 to C4, as it says on this keyboard. But if you hit the octave up button, and it should be red now, it brings it up 1 octave. It goes C3 to C5. If you hit it again, it goes C4 to C6. This sound doesn't go all the way up to C6 because guitar doesn't make that sound. Yep. If I go up again, C5 to C8. If I go up again, C9, C10, all that. Once you get high enough, it doesn't really sound like notes anymore. Cool, and it works the same way down. So if you're not blinking, back here, if you hit octave down, you can't really hear it on these speakers. Yeah. If you have nice headphones, those sounds will come out a little better. Cool. So double check that, use your octave switcher, and really create some nice sounds. Cool. If you have any questions, let me know.